Hey everyone, welcome to Connected with Krissy. I am here today with Hunter Clemons, who was struck by lightning at the age of 16. And that was after you had already had two major concussions in football. So we're gonna really talk about your history and where you've been and what you've been through, and now what you're doing now that you're fully healed. You're training at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, which is amazing. So thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for having me on the show. I'm humbled to be here and blessed to share my story. And I'm blessed, to still be here in general, and blessed to knock down that door that was locked to chase my dream. So.
Awesome. Well, I am loving having you on, and people like you are the people that I want to have on so that they can share their stories. So let's go back. Let's start with football and what happened there, and because it's not typical to get injuries like that in high school football, is it?
Concussions are pretty, common in football in general.
Okay.
Even if it's, youth, high school, college, and even professional. There is a lot of concussions out there, and it happened to be, I had to be one of the victims of it.
Yeah.
So it's...
How did the first one happen?
So, I don't remember too much of this event, or even how it event. I'll actually have to backtrack after the August. It was a little bit of a plot twist.
Okay.
Let's start with the August one first.
Okay. And how old were you here?
I was 15.
Okay.
I was 15 at the time. So I just gotten into freshman year of high school. Started playing football for Southeast High School.
Oh my God, I went to Southeast High School, but not here in North Carolina.
Oh, not the same.
Yeah, weird.
What a coincidence. And so I remember during practice, this is the time we were fully suited up. We were getting ready for our first game in the next couple of weeks, and I remember we ran a play. I don't exactly remember the play, but I remember it was a run. I played right tackle.
Okay.
So if you know football, and people that you watch, so I got off my position after the ball snapped, got the nose guard, and had to block the middle linebacker. That was a part of the play, and all of a sudden, bam! Somebody came across us head-to-head, just contact, just full speed. And all I remember is I could just stand there and my neck just swung. And I was just so confused, and I'm standing there like, what? And I feel like I ran over my train, but just my head, not my body.
Right.
So I played 3 more plays, and I was like, Coach, I'm feeling pretty weird. I'm gonna go take, water. I'm feeling really weird. He's like, that's fine, go ahead. So I remember a lot of the guys came to the sideline for water too, and someone mentioned the weather. They're like, damn, it's so hot outside. I'm like, no, man, it's raining. I literally legit thought it was raining. I was out of it.
Wow.
And they're like, dude, you're okay? I'm like, I think. And they're like, okay, that's it. We need to get a coach.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and they got the coaches and got the trainer, and they said, yeah, obviously you have a concussion. So I had to go to the hospital afterwards, and they said, yeah, you got a concussion.
That was the first one.
The second one, actually.
That was the second one.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the first one would be plot twisted right here.
Oh, you're about to tell us.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I know it sounds a little complicating. So the very next day, I went to sports medicine out in Sarasota for all children's sports medicine.
Okay.
And I seen the doctor there, and I took a couple of tests, because when you have a concussion, you got to take these tests to make sure that, are you good now, or are you still not good? Are you any progress?
And they have to clear you, because it can cause major issues if you continue to play contact sports with a concussion.
Yeah, and so I took all these tests, and my doctor was like, your tests were really bad. Really bad. I mean, from memory to identifying everything, the eye test, it was terrible. And he said, did you have anything prior to that? And I said, well, me and my mom were talking about it. I was like, well, I was suffering from headaches and a little bit of memory before prior. And I told my mom, I was like, I think it was the time when I was with my last youth football team. And they're like, yeah, that could be a concussion right there. And I was telling my symptoms, and I said, yeah, I remember I had concussions, not concussions, but I remember I had headaches from that time prior, and I didn't really think of anything. Nobody really sat down to talk to me about what a concussion is, and to
I actually
say
don't really know what is a concussion. And I've been a wrestler like 20 years
concussion,
ago, but I shouldn't even be asking that question. But I've been lucky enough not to have one, I don't think.
You know, from my story and my perspective, concussions could be a lot of things. But, and concussion's like a big blow to the head. Where, you know, it could cause like even brain damage or to get knocked out, you know. A lot of people think concussions are, oh, you got hit in the head.
But it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. It becomes a lot more.
Yeah.
And so to go on with this little plot twist, he said, you know what? It could be it. He said, explain more. And I told him, well, in my math class in 8th grade, I remember I had people like witnesses, like other classmates say, hey, are you okay? You're rolling your eyes in the back of your head and your arms are like this.
Really?
Yeah. And I would not know. I would not remember. I started noticing it. I'm like, if I went up to the teacher during my work, she said, no, I said this. And I'm like, no, you never mentioned anything about that. Like, so I'm pretty sure she said something while I'm probably having a seizure. And I explained to my sports medicine doctor about that. He was like, yeah, that's a seizure, buddy. Like, it's seizures.
But you had never seized at home or anything with your mom, like, where it was noticeable?
I never mentioned anything about seizures because I didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah. They were mild-ish, I guess,
But, you know,
not that any of that is mild, but mild enough.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's awful. Like, that's awful. You're like so young. Okay. Continue.
And so he's like, okay, you know what? This is gonna be 2 concussions, and this is gonna be labeled as a traumatic brain injury. So.
And how do they come to that conclusion? Because of the seizures and because of the
and
eye
on top
rolling?
of that, the concussion, the first one was basically spring 2015. Then the big blow to the head, which started everything, was August 12, 2015. So it was like back-to-back concussions.
Oh, wow. That's really close together.
And especially the fact that at that time when I suffered my second concussion, I had really bad symptoms. Like, I had every symptom on the list except for
which were?
Dizziness, just memory. Memory was terrible. I had chronic migraines. I half of the time I really couldn't feel some parts of my body.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. Like, there's so many symptoms I can't even think. I just, this memory, just the seizures too. I kept getting seizures where it's like the same thing as I mentioned before. My hands would kind of shake, my eyes, and I'm out of it. My mom was like, "Hey, you all right?" And she's just kind of panicked. I'm like, "Oh, I come back." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right." The only thing I didn't get was vomiting, which I hate that feeling. I hate it. So that's one up to look at. Yeah, it's one positive.
So we're looking at the positives here.
Yes.
Okay. So then, after the second concussion, were you allowed to play football or no?
No, I wasn't even to be in school.
You were not able to be in school.
No. What happened was I was so bad,
with memory and being able
the
to
migraine.
tests.
I couldn't even walk barely. Like my balance was just off the charts. Just bad, off the charts bad.
Wow.
And so they're like, yeah, he's not able to come to school like in person. So they're like, you know what? We can do hospital homebound, which is a program where if you got really hurt really bad, but you're still in school, there'll be teachers coming to your house and go one-on-one with you. The other option's online, obviously. And even though like today, a lot of people are doing online schooling, but back then and even today, I can't do school like online and just read and
it's better if someone's talking.
Exactly.
To you.
Everybody learns differently.
Yeah, totally.
I'm the type of person one-on-one, explain it to me and give me the breakdown, and I'm cool, So we had hospital homebound came in. I'm blessed because the teachers we had were miracles. I mean, we had some teachers that I at that time from freshman to senior year, which was awesome, and they really made me understand, even in that time frame and everything I was going through, to understand and comprehend in my head what's this or what's that. They really worked with me really well through this whole time.
Did you get throughout that time? Did you start to get some of the memory back and start to get some of the learning back? And did things start to bounce back?
It took a while though, especially the coming up deep down the story is a bit of a setback, but over time, it took a lot of time to get everything back. All I can really say, is just time. Time is the progress. Time is the process and the progress. So, And
then what happened?
Oh boy. So, and I was seeing doctors every day. Neurology was seeing was really bad. I was seeing physical therapy for balance. I was seeing sports medicine still. I had bad sleep apnea.
Oh, yeah. Sleep apnea.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
So you stopped breathing when you were sleeping?
Yeah, and I took a couple of tests for it, and they said my brain and my heart stopped in the middle of my sleep.
And you were how old? 16 at this time?
15, 16.
15, 16. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
That's awful for such a young you're supposed to be like healthy and
outgoing and play sports. No, I just had to sit in 4 walls. It's crazy. And so there was no progress for recovery at the time. Homeschool was well though. I didn't even touch campus on freshman year. It was just strictly just homebound. So it was no progress recovery. 6 months into it. Here comes the crazy part.
This is legit insane.
So like 6 months later, I'd say, January 9th, 2016, I was still recovering, but I literally just got a slight progress on my recovery, which is great. Anything that's progressing, I'll take, That's I'm that type of person. And so I went to my uncle's house.
And where does he live?
He lives in Bradenton, Florida.
Okay, so we're in Florida.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so I went over there. My dad went over there, and I was with my mom. We had separate rides. It has something to do. They own lawn businesses, and they were doing some of the equipment, and I had to help out on it and pitch in. So we didn't. My dad was gonna be there for a while, and I wasn't. So that's why me and my mom just rode together. And so we pulled up, did what we needed to do, and we went to go say bye, love you to our family members, and so my mom walked out before me, and I, walked out too from his shed, and she's maybe, I'm saying this part, I know this part kind of sounds really too little, but it really does play a big role here. My mom was like 20 feet in front of me at this point, and the whole time.
My heart is like beating so hard as a mother, like I'm like having panic.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I exit the shed, and I remember my uncle telling me, because he does have footage of it. I took 9 steps.
This is on camera?
I think so. I remember him telling me he has cameras, so I think.
Wow.
I remember I took 9 steps out the shed, and I remember my point of view. I look up to my right, and I said, "Oh, there's a big old lightning strike." I mean, that thing was huge.
But it wasn't raining or anything yet.
No, it was actually cloudy.
It was just a little cloudy.
It was just perfectly cloudy. It was supposed to rain.
Right, but it wasn't like, well, you know how Floridians are. We'll be like, it's in the distance still a little bit. We're fine.
It's going to rain today. All of a sudden, it's sunny all day.
And you really don't worry so much about it until it's like right up on you. Until it's like right up on you. And then you're like, I should go inside now.
Exactly. us Floridians, we really don't care. I mean, we just do our thing in the rain.
Yeah.
And the hurricanes are even out in the sun. I mean,
you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
You're telling the truth.
And so I took 9 steps, looked to my right. I was like, oh, that's a big old lightning strike. You know, it was cloudy. Just
how far was the one that you saw away from you?
God, far away.
Far
away. I mean, it's probably past Cortez Road if you live locally. I mean, from those neighborhoods to Cortez Road is really far.
Like what, a mile, 2 miles? Like
probably, I'd say maybe 4 miles.
Wow.
It was far.
Okay, so you didn't think you were in any immediate danger?
No, and I look up, and all of a sudden I see all white coming straight at me, just face to face with death.
No.
And bam, the loudest sound, and all I remember I could see was all white at like the first split second. It hit me right over here, kind of like right my upper shoulder, my neck area, and all I could remember was I seen all white, and I just clashed to the ground. I mean, I remember plain as day hearing my mom screaming her lungs out, like,
oh my god,
oh my god. And I remember her screaming was fading on my ear. I was like, oh my god, I think he's dead. Please don't be dead. And she
that was what she was saying?
Yeah, oh my god, call ambulance. And I guess everybody came out there too, but I was knocked out unconsciously, like for almost 5-10 minutes. At this point.
Could they feel a heartbeat? Like, did your poor mother know that you were alive, or she thought you were dead for that long?
She was freaking out. She's like, "Oh my god, I don't know, is he dead? Or like just questioning. She'll say, oh my God, I think he's dead. But then it's like, oh my God, he better not be dead. You know, she was freaking out. She had no time to think.
Yeah.
And everybody was so confused. And I woke up, and at the time.
Did you wake up before the ambulance got there?
There was no ambulance.
Oh, nobody called 911?
I refused it. I didn't want to go.
You're like, I've had enough of doctors, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. I was going every day, so I'm like, why? I don't want to go. You know, I thought it was fine. So I woke up, and the first thing, and especially when you're going through the head injuries that became very even life-threatening, you know, the first thing you pop in is, oh my God, my head. That's the first thing I said. Oh my God, my head. And I remember my uncle giving me water, and everybody was looking like, what in the hell happened? And I'm just sitting there like this, like just pounding headache, in the passenger seat.
Did you feel the heat in your body at this point, or no?
I'm
you were just worried about your head?
I felt heat during the strike, and everybody asks me this question whenever I do tell the story. They say, hey, you know, how did the lightning strike feel? And I'll just tell them, you know what? It's the hardest question I've really had, because when I got hit, I didn't really feel anything. It was like it was like a snap. I couldn't feel nothing. The only thing I did feel was this burn. It was really hot.
Throughout the entire body.
Yeah, but it was like that split second. It was
only in the split second, not continuous.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
for those of you who don't know, lightning is like the hottest thing in the world. It's hotter than the sun and hotter than lava. This is science. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so
I'm like, I can't get over your poor mother at this point.
Yeah,
okay.
I can't imagine that. If I ever see my kid get hit by lightning, oh Lord,
no,
I'd be the same. I'd be panicking.
Yeah,
and be calling everybody. You know.
So you think you were out for about 5 to 10 minutes,
yeah,
or you know you were out for about 5 to 10 minutes?
My mom told me that I was out between 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
In that span, and I remember saying, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital. Nobody call anybody. Don't. You know, so my mom got in the car and I got in the car as well. And so we were on the way home. Yeah, home. Home, because I refused to go. And I'm like, Mom, I'm fine. I'm like, I'm fine.
I'd be like, yeah, Hunter, we're going home. And I'd be like, to the hospital.
Exactly.
I'd be like,
Yeah, my mom is a type to where she knows that if I do feel like I have to go to the hospital,
right?
Go.
Yes.
But she was really just like, I'm gonna turn this way,
and
you're not gonna know that we're gonna show up to the ER.
Right. That's what I would have done. I mean, and she was probably really in shock too.
Yeah.
Like, probably everybody's like, what do we do? What do we do? And then if you're feeling like, I mean, I don't feel that horrible yet. I don't feel that horrible yet.
That's on the spot, yeah.
So, I mean, I probably would have been like, that didn't happen. Like, I saw something in my eyes. Maybe it hit right beside him. There's no way it hit him.
Yeah. And the scariest part, my mom literally watched the whole thing happen. That's the scariest part. That's why I mentioned that, hey, yeah, she was about 20 feet away from me, because the last sight before I looked up was her turning around to call me for something. And that's when I looked up and bam, it happened so quick. Because she was about to either call me for something, or say something to me, or ask me something. I don't know. If I remember her turning around, facing me, bam. It was just the sequence of that. It's just very weird in general.
Yeah,
just the last look is my mom's face, like just 20
like
feet,
horror,
and looking up, and there's death right there in my face, like wanting to come and knock on my door and take me out.
What did you think at that point? Did you have any thoughts, or you couldn't?
You know what? The very interesting thing was, right when I looked at the lightning, literally the 2 words I said in my head was, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, because you're like, yep, there it is, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going to take me out.
I had no look on my face. I just looked, I was like,
yeah, there's
shit.
like no time. Yeah. So you guys get in the car, you tell your mom you do not need to go to the hospital.
Yeah, it was all me. My mom was wanting me to get to the hospital, which was all on it. I'm like, no, I'm fine. She's like, if you feel any weird, you better tell me.
Yeah.
Go. She was very stern about it.
Yeah, so, and then what happened?
You know, we pulled up to the house. I did my normal thing. You know, I was wanting to watch a playoff game. I love football, so why not? And I was looking forward to that, get ready, get some snacks, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go because my head started to feel weird, and the weirdest part was my legs were starting to feel, but I was walking. So
you were walking, you weren't having anything.
So I was kind of starting to have a hard time. So I laid on the couch. I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm feeling really weird. Like my head, my concussions. I'm not too sure. I'm still recovering from it, from the traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
And my legs started to feel weird. She's like, okay, hospital. I'm like, yes. So we went straight to the hospital, and when we pulled up to the hospital, I couldn't walk.
So did you ever get explained to you what that was? Like
no,
what had happened? Like why there was like a delayed sort of?
You know what? I went to, actually I don't want to spoil that part of the story. It's a little further.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil that part. I'll get to that though, I promise.
Okay, so you get to the hospital.
Yep, and I just
you can't walk.
No,
at this point. Did they have to come wheel you out?
Like I was gonna get out of the car, and I could stand, but when I go to walk, it was like my quads are trying to give out. I mean, I had no strength in them, so mom told me, get back in the car. We'll have to get you a wheelchair and wheel you up. So, and my cousin showed up. She was helping too, and we got our the little hospital room and everything. And they said, yeah, you got your third concussion, but you're very lucky to be alive with lightning strike. I mean, especially when they told me, especially when you're still recovering from the head injuries that became very severe.
Right, absolutely.
Hits like that and stuff like that can kill you in an instant. You're very fortunate to be here. And, after all that explaining and talking, what medicines or who to see, I couldn't walk again. I was trying and I just couldn't walk.
This was after you had gotten admitted to the hospital? Were you admitted already at this point?
Yeah,
in a room?
after we went over everything, I still couldn't walk after being admitted to the hospital. Yeah, so walking into neurology that very next day saying, no, actually I was sports
Did
medicine.
you know them already?
Yeah.
Like this guy.
I was still seeing him.
You already knew them from the concussions, but then you're now seeing them from a lightning strike.
Yep, because I was still recovering, so I had to go see. It was so bad to the point where I had to go see them frequently.
They didn't let you go from the hospital though night one, did they?
No, I was free to go home. I just had.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
What did they do when you were at the hospital to make sure you're quote unquote free to go home? Did they do CAT scan, MRI?
They did a CAT scan on my head, and it came out good.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a huge blessing.
Yeah, it came out great.
Okay.
As well as they didn't really do too much with the legs, because I told them I can't walk, but it's like
you could feel though, like if somebody went like like you
could
feel. It wasn't paralysis.
No. I could feel what's on my leg.
It was just like your neurotransmitters weren't really connecting, maybe. So you
right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But not paralysis.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and so, where do I start? It's a lot. So
I've already had one panic attack. Let me just.
So at this point, even from the second concussion into now, I was in doctor's offices every day.
Yeah, that sucks for a kid. You're a kid.
Yeah,
you were a kid.
For therapy, because I was getting depressed from it.
100%.
I was in four walls. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't play football like I wanted to. I was like, well, dang, am I able to? Can I wrestle in the future?
Yeah. Because he always wanted to be a wrestler, which we did not mention in the beginning. We mentioned he's training now, but that was always a dream for you. That wasn't like a new thing after the lightning strike or anything like that.
Yeah, and so now it's like, it's another visit with neurology and sports medicine and therapy, but just another setback, And after that lightning strike and the third concussion, it really tore my head up. I mean, every symptom I had just got even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dizziness was worse, the chronic migraines were worse, the pain was worse. I mean, I can't describe the pain. It's terrible. I could walk now from the lightning strike. Just seizures.
Did the seizures get worse? Because I know you were sort of pseudo having seizures prior to, but they weren't.
No, what's surprisingly, they didn't get worse.
Okay.
That's one thing that. Sorry, but it's something in my throat.
You can get drink.
But that's one thing that did didn't go down was the seizures. The seizures didn't really get worse. It was just the same, which is very fortunate, you know.
Yeah,
because
very
that's
fortunate.
that. Now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now there's another thing to take down. And
Yeah.
so it's like that's one of the things too, and I remember I never mentioned this too, and this happened in the beginning, but I had like blood coming out my belly button as well. Yeah. And
Blood coming out of your belly button
just
after the lightning strike?
or
Or after one of the concussions?
after my second concussion.
What was
I
that?
had no idea.
Did you tell the doctors?
Yeah, I told them.
What did they say?
They sent me to like the surgery center for all children's, and they were getting it checked out. I honestly don't remember, but they said it has to do with the brain. I don't understand.
You go
either.
have me on Google after this, like trying to
Exactly.
figure out what
And
that is.
people are like, what in the hell? They're gonna go. Google
Yeah,
that.
everybody's gonna go on Google now, going blood coming. Yeah, that's
I guess something to do with the
strange.
nerves or whatever with the brain. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, okay?
Okay.
But that's what I was kind of speculating.
Yeah.
That there was so much blood coming out of my belly button.
But that's also your point of life when you come into this earth, because that's where you're connected to your mother. That's where the umbilical cord. That's your point of life. Like, so I wonder if there's something there.
Yeah, and so we went to the surgery center for that part, and they're like,
You don't have me on Google.
and they're like, well, we have no idea what's going on or even what happened. Like,
Oh,
I
because
know.
they're like, wait, we normally see you for this, but now you're in for this whole other set
yeah, so
of
I was
things.
basically I was seeing all these doctors, just like 10, 15 doctors, like every.
This is crazy.
Yeah, and
And you were 16 when the lightning strike.
yep,
Okay.
yeah, and so we went there for the belly button. They're like, you know what? It could have something to do with the brain, but we can't do anything because it bled at, like one day it'll just bleed like just.
Like a lot?
Yeah. And then a couple of days it'll be fine. Then one day we'll just do it again.
And there was no injuries or anything
No.
directly to that.
No.
Is really weird. Like,
That's why they were saying it might have something to do with the brain or then I guess then I don't know.
Okay.
Something to do with the system. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor. I can't.
Yeah. No. I know, but still, like that doesn't really make a lot.
It's mad crazy.
Yeah, that is real crazy.
So, and I was still going through that at the time. So let's get that part out, and just say I was still going through that after the lightning strike. And so after that, like I said, everything has worsened. I didn't get no vomiting, which is great.
You had to what?
I had like every other symptom, but no vomiting.
No
vomitings,
vomiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So severe concussion comes with migraines, seizures, body. I also want to talk about how your body actually felt in the coming, days and months. But your worst were migraines and seizures, right?
Yeah, like migraines, seizures, and memory.
Memory, yeah.
Yeah, and see, a lot of concussions.
And you couldn't go back to school.
No. And see, a lot of these concussions, I've seen, I play football, so of course I'll know people that have concussions, and they're like, oh no, I'm fine. It was
right, that's typical.
Like a week thing, and they told me to take this time off or whatever, but I had these symptoms. I'm like, well, I had these symptoms. I mean, the same symptoms, but not as worse or not as, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just different scale of how worse or how mild it is, or just how many days you were out, or you were ready to go suit up after a certain amount of time.
Right.
So, and in this case, it was like, okay, now it's been almost a year, because, it was, January, February at the point, January 9th is
when you got hit by lightning. Okay.
So I was still going through it. So I had no choice but just to sit in four walls and just hope, because I was on a lot of medicine for chronic migraines, for even for sleep, because I couldn't sleep. And sometimes it was like my brain was so messed up. It was like I woke up one night and thinking I was like in a box, like just so I had to use light in order to sleep.
A special kind of light therapy?
Yeah, not like a light therapy, but I had to use like kind of like a nightlight type of thing.
Oh, just to have a little bit of
light
in the room.
Yeah, because I couldn't be in the dark, because after all that, and I didn't really care if I was in the dark before, but now after the concussions, it was terrible. I couldn't. And so as we go down the line, I was still seeing the same old thing. New day, doctor's appointments. There was no improvement. I mean, we literally had the schedule on a notebook. It's like this thick, and filed like this thick. Especially like my neurology told me to do migraine logs, like what scale 1 to 10 how it felt,
Right.
and it's just strictly like giving me like 7 or 8. Where it's like 10, 10, 10, 10. It was bad.
Yeah.
So that's all I was really doing. Just
For how many months?
It started ever since August 12th, 2015. So I've been getting my chronic migraines since then, just every day, all day. I mean, no break. I mean.
Then the lightning strike, which made it worse.
Yep. Yeah, and especially not walking and being a little active.
Oh yeah, were you able to walk again?
Yeah, I was able to walk after 2 months. I went to Shriners Hospital.
2 months you were not able to walk?
I was on a walker for 2 months. So I went to...
And you're 16.
Yeah, wow. 16 and
wow.
I couldn't walk, which is nuts.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so I went to Shriners Hospital. I seen it. I don't remember his name. My memory's still terrible today.
That's okay. Yeah, that's
but
okay.
we went there, and he was like, you know what? It could be, you have to practice walking. Try this. Practice walking.
Wow, good
maybe
doctor.
like 15 to 30 minutes before you go to bed. Just try that. And, I tried to do that for 2 months straight. It was a pain. It was a struggle. Like, I'll fall and I have to crawl.
Like an 80-year-old would on a walker.
Yeah, so I have to use the wall to climb up and just keep on going and just every night. And I remember these moments. I woke up in the morning as usual, just got up and just went to brush my teeth and do everything, and I got dressed for the day, and I'm like...
You're like, I just walked.
I'm walking. Like, wait, I'm walking.
Wow.
So...
You were kind of like in a daze where you didn't like really think about it
no,
too much?
because it was like such an everyday thing to suffer and all this stuff, or what I was going through myself. So it was like, oh, just another day. What am I going to feel now? What is this day going to bring me? Yeah. So that's what kind of got me dazed out and saying, wait, I'm walking,
Yay!
So my mom got up hours later, and I didn't want to tell her. I'm saying, oh, Mom, I'm walking. No, I wanted to surprise her.
Yeah.
She went out back, did her thing, and I'm sitting there just standing there. I'm having a conversation, like, hey, how was sleep? We were talking, what doctors we got to see today and stuff. And my mom was like, something's very different, but I'm not too sure. I'm like, no, there's not. There's no difference. And she's like, you're walking. I'm like, yep. We started hugging and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to surprise her
day.
with that. Yeah, so it brought a lot of hope up.
Yeah.
So we went to Shriners one time, and they're like, oh, you're walking, It was basically in and out. He's like, oh, you're walking? Yeah. Go home.
Good.
You're good.
Good.
You have to come back. So now from then, I think it was like February, March or April, we got the walking out of the way. I couldn't walk. Now it's just the concussions. Now it's the brain.
The migraines.
Yeah, now it's that. So it's now, like I said before, it's the same thing. I had no progress recovery at all at this point, even after the 6 months. Because remember earlier I said and mentioned that I had a slight bit of progress after that span.
Before the lightning strike, you had just had a tiny bit.
The same time of progress, not progress, but same type of time of recovery, excuse me.
No, you're fine.
There was no progress, not even a slide of progress, which was insane. So now that happens, saying, oh, well, at these 6 months, you recovered here, but these 6 months you didn't, So it really put me down a lot, because it's like, well, I expected to at least have a slight bit of progress to recover at this time, but I don't. And so
what did that do to you mentally?
It destroyed me. It kept me up, because like music and all I can really do is just play games, and that's it. And I have to sit in the back of the room.
Did you have a lot of friends that came to visit you and stuff? Or?
Too much. We live a busy life, so but they'll get a hold of me and say, hey, how are you? And especially my close friends I still talk to today, and so there was really no progress of recovery through 2016, you know, and so
the
but
entire year.
yeah, but the thing is, for my sophomore, was able to go back to school.
Oh, good.
So I was able to go back to school part time and do hospital homebound part time. So and that worked out really well. So now 2017 hits, you know, the end of I think sophomore year, I'd say. It's, you know, time for so junior year. You know, I don't have so much. This story is so much. It's so many changes. I just can't.
I'm
figure out
riveted.
anything.
It's okay.
Yes, and so I went to transfer a new school and such. It's a
Why?
I just wanted to go to a different school.
Oh, okay.
My mom went to this school, which was at Manatee High School.
Oh, okay.
And so I was gonna go there, but Southeast picked me up early for football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So. But anyway, so I went to a different school at this time. Same thing, see neurology like once or twice a month. And I think it was twice a month at this time, actually, yeah. And further down 2017, we reduced the visiting times for neurology to once a month instead of twice, which is progress.
Yeah.
And so, it really brought me down mentally because I had no life. I couldn't do anything.
You couldn't be a teenager.
No, I couldn't go out and do what I wanted to do. I couldn't play sports.
Yeah, you couldn't go to the hangouts and the parties and stuff like that. Yeah, because you were
literally
technically disabled at like 16.
Yeah, like literally, I can go outside right here and look at the sun and okay, I gotta go in. My migraines just kick in just that fast.
Even today, now. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
This was then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it became such a big dramatic thing for me because it's like, you know what, I'm just stuck. What can I do?
Yeah. So what did you do?
Just the original teenage thing, staying at home, just do schoolwork.
You just gave it time.
Yeah, just do schoolwork, you know. I wasn't that clear to even go back to lifting weights or even exercise. I couldn't do that kind of stuff either.
Wow.
I couldn't do anything. My doctor said it's so bad I can't do anything, which he was right. I couldn't do anything.
Right.
If I lived like a 30-pound box, which is really light to me, I would get a chronic migraine. I mean, it was just I was stuck. So all I can really do is schoolwork or play video games, but I can sit in the
But would video games give you migraines too? That's what I was gonna say. They give me migraines.
I have to sit way back in the room to play, and can only do it for a certain amount of time. You know, and like my doctors were saying too, do stuff to kind of make your head stronger. Like, and you couldn't really do it too much. Or I couldn't really do too much because the fact that it's painful. Like my sports medicine doctor said, how about just look out the window or just go somewhere. You can watch the sunset, but just have a window in front of you. Yeah. You know, just don't be out there. Just always have a window in front of you. Yeah. I tried that. There was no progress to it. So it was like, you know what? It's like, you know what? Just give it time. Give it time and give it time.
That's what everybody kept telling you, just give it time.
Yeah, and everybody that supported me throughout this journey, and especially, you know, the main person is my mom. Yeah. You know, I shout out to my mom, you know, I love you.
Shout out to the mamas.
You know, I love you, and the most important, you know, thing for my journey. So I thank you for being there for me on my downs and my journey, and still being it today when I'm wrestling in the ring. And, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to meet her.
yes, definitely. She's something else. Yeah. She's something else.
Are you an only child, or are you brothers and sisters?
I have a stepsister, but I'm the only child.
The only one. Yeah. So when did things start to get better?
Well, through 2017, things didn't really get better, just life changes, like getting a job. Like, I got so closed in four walls to a point where I rushed myself to work.
Yeah, got to do something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I went to work, you know, for Arby's. That was my first job.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, at least it finished right. Yeah. Yeah. So I went to work.
Hey, it was getting out of the house, right?
And then making that.
Yeah, making a little bit of money. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went to get my job, you know, and just work and school. And then homebound, so it was kind of a chaotic schedule. So I just would only work on the weekends, you know, just to kind of, because I was kind of going down to school, and especially with the head injuries, after you get all these injuries, now it's like kind of like resetting your computer or like an update. There's so many new things now on your computer. Now it's like, you know, the brain, okay, how can I learn this way? I can't do that way now. You know, so throughout 2018, I gotten lots of progress too.
Good.
Starting to reduce my doctors a little bit.
Good.
The sleep amina was going away.
Okay.
I had no more bleeding in the belly button area, none of that.
That we're all going to be Googling. Trying to figure out what that was.
Exactly. None of that anymore.
Good.
The only thing was kind of like the main things, migraines, and no more seizures too, by the way. No more of that. It was just migraines, dizziness, just lack of, I couldn't do anything, lack of activity.
I think you told me off camera, but I don't think you told them about the electricity after the lightning strike. I do want to talk about that.
Yes, you know what? Let's actually get this out of the way. Let's actually talk about that.
I do want to, because that was so strange, because I'm like, did you feel anything afterwards?
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? This is the weirdest part. Like I mentioned, you know what? You would think if lightning would hit you, you wouldn't be able to walk right away, right? In my case, I can't get up.
Right. Well, you would think it would kill you automatically. That's how amazing the human body is, that something that's hotter than the sun and hotter than lava, the human body can survive.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and just being knocked out and getting back up, you would think that from the lightning strike and in the story, I couldn't walk right after lightning strike.
Absolutely.
No, I couldn't walk in overtime. Throughout the day, I lost so much strength in my legs throughout the day. So it's a weird thing. So now the weirdest symptom I've had, the kind of a thing was...
I asked him if he got any superpowers after this. This was what I was hoping for.
I felt it, like an example was like a kid today trying to be funny and putting a fork in an outlet. I literally felt like all that shock from head to toe, like at some points after the lightning strike, for almost 6-7 months. So like for example, I could be riding with my mom to the bank or just be walking somewhere, and all of a sudden I could just feel all that shock and electricity. I was shocked, and like getting shocked throughout my whole body from head to toe, just like at random moments.
Wow.
So I'm just sitting there like this, and just like I can sometimes bump this because it hurts so bad because I was sitting there.
Yeah.
It hurts so bad where I'm bowling on my right.
And it wouldn't be activated from anything in particular.
Right, and it's just like, it hurts. And they're like, Mom will be like, are you alright? I'm like, yeah, it's just like kind of like the shock. I call it the shock wave.
Yeah.
I said, so yeah, it's all the shocks and all the shock waves that are in my body. It was the weirdest thing. It was really annoying.
Yeah.
It was like if you're having a good time, finally, and you're doing something for yourself, and that kicks in, and that just kind of just shuts you down. It was painful, and it kind of gets to your head after a while.
Yeah. But like, is this ever going to go away?
Right. So, like, and everybody, asks, like, hey, you got superpowers now?
I know. I'm like, what can you do for us?
I guess I can let you keep the camera now,
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. So let's fast forward to healing and health, and how many years did that take, and what did you do to get through all those years of, because it was about 4 or 3 years.
About like 4 or 3 years. That's
that's a long time, especially to like a 16-year-old.
Right.
Like, because when you get a little older, time goes by a lot faster, but when you're 16, you're like...
Exactly. I just turned 20 not even 2 weeks ago, so I can already really see it now, how quick time flies. Like I can remember the pitch perfect conversation we actually had setting up this whole thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm walking out of work and I'm like, oh my god. Time by fast.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were actually at that part too for recovery. So it was just no progress through 2017. Getting my first job and
getting out of the house, having some normalcy.
Right, exactly. And 2018, I started to get that, get that recovery in a bit. The symptoms never changed throughout this time, but I would do my normal routine, come home from school, get me some food, and sit down and just kind of watch YouTube. It was one particular day in 2018, this kicked in. And it kicked in, and I was like, you know what? Something told me in my head, you're ready. I heard a voice in my head just like, you're ready.
Yeah, I just got chills.
So I put down my phone, I ate my food, and I just waited for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, let's do football drills in the backyard. I need to go there.
Really?
Yeah, so I set up everything, what I learned from football, did football drills, and I was like, and so I started doing it every day after I come from school, just do football drills in the backyard.
Wow.
As a start, and I started doing them, and I couldn't do it for like 10, 15 minutes. It was
right.
But you know what, at least a little bit of time counts. You know?
Yeah.
If I was starting to do them every day, and sometimes I'll get frustrated, like, man, I can't do this anymore. I used to be able to do it, and I can't do this.
Yeah.
So, and even this over time, from the concussion, I gained a lot of weight. I gained lots of weight.
Oh.
Literally, when I was in high school football, I was like 270 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was, what, 6'2", 6'3", about the same height today, maybe a little taller now, but now I remember talking to a buddy of mine months prior to that, saying, oh yeah, because we always try to lose weight together, you know, and we just slack off and come the next school year, like, hey man, did you lose any weight?
Yeah.
No. Did you? Nope, not me either. So
that's funny.
Yeah, so we were just talking about weight, and you know, he was trying to lose weight for football, and I was like, yeah, I'm 350 pounds.
350 pounds you got up to.
That's the max.
That was after the lightning strike.
That was after
sort of
everything.
Everything.
After overtime, sitting in the
that
house.
had to have been a deep dark hole.
Yeah, it's deep dark. I mean, I looked rough back then.
Yeah.
That was rough. I was rough, and even when you're rough,
you're very thin now, but like anybody, that could happen to anyone.
Exactly, especially
not the lightning strike, but the weight gain with like the depression, and stuff that would come along with
injuries,
it. Absolutely,
Of course, and being down so mentally for so long, of course you're going to gain a lot of weight.
Absolutely.
You know, and so after telling that, I felt so ashamed of myself for so many months. I'm like, man. Literally, I wore a hoodie, and my whole sophomore year, I wore a hoodie every day to school. I didn't care. It was literally, I remember at one point, it was like 99 degrees outside. I had to go outside for our agriculture. I wore a hoodie. I didn't care. Wow. I wore a hoodie. I didn't care. I was so ashamed of it. I didn't care. Hunter, can you give me a hoodie? Nope. I was so ashamed of it. So, you know, getting to the point, I started doing football drills in the backyard. And so I actually started going to the gym. I signed up for a gym and just started from little to big, you know, just doing stuff. And you know, I would last with 30 minutes. I had to take my time because of that. I wanted to stay in there and to get my sets and my reps. And so I'll start from my little things, you know, over time. And now it was like I was getting to the bigger and the better things. So and I actually had got me a personal trainer as well. To kind of give me that step forward to actually learn stuff that I never knew about. And you see, back then when I played football, and I lifted weights, but I wasn't into it. I didn't care about it, to be honest. I just lifted weights, and all I really cared about was my performance on the field. That's all I cared about. I just, when we hit the weight room, I'm like, I don't care about this. You know, and I know the weight room is like the biggest thing in football, you know. But I just didn't care about it inside my head. I wanted to go out and play and just hit people, you know, block people, and protect my quarterback, obviously. And so now I hired a personal trainer to learn all these things. And, you know, me and him got really close, and we're so close to this day. So I was very excited to have that little step forward. And so he ended up moving to Tampa. So I was like, man, I'm on my own.
Oh, how much weight did you lose with him?
I think I was down from 350 to like 290, 280
that's
in a
great.
really short time.
Yeah, that's really great.
So during that time, I actually was starting to be physically active. I couldn't really run or really do anything. But I started to climb up and you know, top game, you know, and started to all that good stuff. So 2018, it was a big progress for me. It's so many years. I get so confused with this. I mean, it's from 2015 to 2020, like 2019.
Yeah.
So it's kind of confusing because maybe the things I said, I get confused.
It's okay. Anyways, you're doing great.
But anyways, so 2018 was a big progress for me because I actually went to neurology, and they're like, well, I told them, well, can I be cleared? Because I feel like I can go on my own. They said, well, your migraines, they go down a lot. You know, your dizziness is, your bounce is great, your dizziness is pretty much gone. They said, you know what, since it's really severe, give it one more year. If we can at least give you one more year, your last year, I can guarantee you can be out of here, you know. And I feel like my neurologist was like a little iffy about it, like, you know, because I had every doctor I went to say it could last for 3 to 5 years, even to a lifetime. I've heard lifetime from multiple people.
Yes.
And, you know, these doctors, and I'm like, man, to the point where like, yeah, you can't live on your own, you know. It's horrifying to hear.
Yeah, that's horrifying to hear.
So it was very great
age,
to have a big hopes to, you know.
Yeah, like I got one more year to do this. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And my doctor was pretty excited for seeing me to lose weight, and that was a big factor too.
Yes.
Was losing weight.
How'd you lose the weight? Just diet, exercise, old fashioned?
Yeah, diet and exercising. And I'm really strict on that now because I like getting into that stuff because it kind of saved my life too.
Yeah.
So, actually, we're gonna have the water in my hand there for a second.
That's okay.
Okay. So,
you're so funny.
So now we get on to progress.
Okay.
I started hitting the gym a lot more and getting actually in good condition. And over time at that point, I didn't really feel any migraines, not much at all, just living life, you know, enjoying. I was starting to enjoy myself for the first time, finding myself for the first time, just enjoying everything, you know. And I started to recover quickly. I started to lose weight quickly, get better shape quickly, you know, and especially because I wanted to wrestle. So I wanted to be in that condition to wrestle too.
Right.
And I remember this particular time, February 7th, 2019, I went into neurology that day. And I told Mom, I said, this is the time, but it was out of the blue. I told her previously, like, look, I want to get cleared for wrestling. I didn't want to do this for a long time. But I didn't really mention too much of it. I was so focused on it. So I kept silent about it, you know. My mom knew what I wanted to do. Mom wasn't sure because, you know, it's dangerous. It's professional wrestling. It's dangerous, you know. Especially in my case, a lot of doctors say, no, I want to clear you for wrestling. I would never in a day to clear you for anything.
Right.
You got to play contact less sports. I'm like, good luck with that, buddy, because I like contact sports. So I told Mom on the way, I said, yeah, I'm going to ask him. I think it's time because I don't feel any chronic migraines at this time. And, you know, as of February 7, 2019, and that little bit back in the span, I was just 100%. I feel like I was better. He came into the door, you know, came in the room, sat down, did his little thing, computer, did his voice message on his phone of how I'm doing, what my symptoms are, and he was like, you look really good. You look excellent. He's like, what's your, and I think my weight then was like 230.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So he was like, you know what? I can clear you. I think it's time for you to go out on your own and say that you are covered. And I'm like, hold on now. I'm not making this official yet. I want to be cleared for professional wrestling. He was like, and his eyes got big. And my heart was beating so hard because I wanted, this is my life. Like, if I didn't know, how am I going to live? Like, this is what I want to do. I don't care for anything else. You know, I do care for other things.
Yes, of course. I understand what you mean.
Professional wrestling, man. I want to wrestle, dude.
Yeah.
I want to wrestle my guy. This is my chance right here. This is all or nothing. And my heart's just a pound. I'm sitting in my seat. I'm like, man, if he says no, I'm going to be pissed. I'm just going to say, I'm going to
flip the table over.
Yeah, exactly. Flip the bed. Just jump out the window. And he was like, you know what, Hunter? You went through a lot. You busted it, man. And to come this far, and a lot of progress I'm seeing, and you know, when you're getting older, you have to live life. If this is what you want, you did this, what else are you going to do? There's no limit to it.
He said that to you?
he said,
In those
exactly,
sort of those words.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow,
Basically,
good doctor. Good doctor.
He said, I'm gonna clear you. You go ahead and do what you want to do. Whatever you want to do, go for it.
Wow.
And I was like, the biggest shock just went through my body, especially because the night before I previous of my grandma passing, literally the same, literally morning my grandma passed, I got cleared, so it was very emotional for just the shock waves going down my body, and I'm like, I just got cleared for wrestling, and when a lot of critics said I couldn't do it,
of course,
when
there was probably moments when you thought you wouldn't be able to do it.
There was a lot of moments, but just something in me, faith just kept me going and going and going. I could have the worst mindset at a moment and still do it. And just still do it. Or to feel down in my body, but I still dig and scratch and claw. I don't even feel myself being inspired doing it, but I just do it.
Yeah.
And then they came to that point saying, you're cleared, you can wrestle. And that was the end. Like, that was literally the last appointment ever. I called my therapist and said, look, I'm done. Like, I don't want to come in or anything. I told her I got cleared. She's like, oh my God, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, you know what, I'll come in. I'll come and talk to him first. So I came for one last time.
Yeah, just to say my goodbyes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like deuces, man.
Yeah.
I told her we were talking about, we were very excited about it. I love this therapist I got to, so we got along great about it. She's like, oh my God, it's a good job. And da-da-da-da. And that was the end of it. Like,
wow.
That was all. That was it.
Wow. Wonderful. High five. So if you had one message for people, like something to leave people on, like obviously you're going to be a wrestler now and you've been training now for how long? A few months?
Yeah, about a few months.
Yeah, this is somebody to look out for. I'll go ahead and tell you in the future, this is somebody to look out for. You don't have stories like this for no reason. What do you want to leave people with?
What I can leave people with a lot of things. I like to help others and what they're going through because I went through it myself. So it really wants you to seek out and help other people too. But I can tell you one thing. Time is a part of the process. And all you can really do is have faith. Honestly, for me, I stopped believing. But faith was still inside me. And in order to believe anything, you gotta have faith. So basically, I still believed, I just didn't know.
Yes.
So I could say is my story, when I sat four walls and when I just suffered, people tell me just depend on time. And my time came. It knocked on my head and it knocked on my door. And that's when I just went all out. Like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. Awesome. What an incredible journey. And I look so forward to watching you in the future. There's something special here.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming on. I want you to tell them where they can find you on social media and stuff, and I'll also link that, okay?
Okay.
So tell them what your social media
links are. You
links
can add me
are.
on Facebook, more than welcome to Hunter Clemons. I'm not a big social media.
You don't have an Instagram or anything?
I do. I'm not on it much.
You will when you get fully trained, because you're going to be a wrestler, so you're going to need that.
Of course, yes.
So we'll link.
I guess I can link it.
Yeah, I'll link whatever your social media is,
course.
and then that way, because you'll need that for the future. That'll be a big part of what you do in your wrestling stuff.
Yes.
Not so much now, but later. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.